Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second module in our series, right? And this module titled Prospecting Mastery. How do we build a steady stream of qualified leads through effective prospecting? Now, what are we looking to achieve through this or in this module? So, one, we look at how do we help you to understand the importance of effective prospecting and lead generation in the sales process, right? So, secondly, we will look at how do we help you to identify and qualify potential prospects in your sales pipeline. Then we look at how do we develop effective messaging and prospecting and getting those lead generation numbers up. We'll also look into how do we develop effective outreach strategies, and finally, how do we utilize technology and data to improve our prospecting and lead generation targeting. Now, let's go into the core of the matter, right? Let's dive into the substance of this presentation. Now, what is effective prospecting, right? Now, effective prospecting is the process of identifying and reaching out to potential customers or clients who may be interested in our say products or services, but not just reaching out in a more targeted and a more formalized way that will improve our odds of getting close sales or close deals from those prospecting activities, right? Um, and truth is, effective prospecting is the most critical component or activity of the sales process. It is the first step in the sales cycle, and is an essential component of the overall success of your sales strategy. um why is it important, right? Now, the prospecting is crucial, given that, as we had pointed out before, it is a starting point of the sales process. And obviously, without effective prospecting, your sales team or you as a salesperson will definitely struggle to meet or to find new customers and meet those targets assigned to you. Now, the uh, the in prospecting, and in following through with effective prospecting, you engage in such a way where you essentially build a list of potential customers who are most likely, no, and I want to input most likely here, most likely interested to purchase your product or service at the end of the day, right? This list is typically created through a combination of either search, networking, and outreach activities such as your cold calling, email marketing, and your social media outreach. The and then by identifying and reaching out to your potential customers through effective prospecting, you are not only filling your pipeline with qualified leads, but you are also creating opportunities for to build relationships and establish trust with your target audience. This is important because people buy from people or persons they trust, and by establishing trust with your prospects early on, you increase your chances of closing deals and developing long term relationships with your potential customers. Now, what are the benefits of effective prospecting? To just sum up what we would have discussed just now, it helps you to build a strong pipeline, that allows you to focus your efforts on those high quality leads, right? And it increases your conversion rate, but also reduces the sales cycle time. And obviously, it allows you or assist you, or put you in a better position to achieve your sales targets and our revenue goals. Now, the the just to recap in essence, if prospecting is essential in the sales process, because what it allows you to do is to fill your sales pipeline with qualified leads, which in turn increases your chance of closing deals and achieving your sales goals. Effective prospecting, now, ladies and gentlemen, involves identifying and reaching out to potential customers, building relationships, and establishing trust with your target audience. As a sales professional, mastering the art of prospecting is key to your success. Now, how do we identify and qualify those prospects uh, um, in in the effective prospecting spectrum, right? Now, in terms of identifying and qualifying these prospects, what we want to do is we want to create what we call an ideal customer profile, right? We then want to look at, how do we create a buyer persona to guide us in targeting those particular clients. And then we want to prioritize, right? Prioritize those leads once they start to come in. And then no, we want to use the band formula to qualify those leads as we get them as well, and then identify the decision makers and stakeholders, so that we know that, hey, when we're targeting these persons are those persons that can make the decisions. These are those persons that can say yes or no to a particular sale. No, in terms of identifying or defining the ideal customer profile, we now need to define what it is, right? And contextualize what a ICP is, an ideal customer profile. Now, an ideal customer profile is essentially a detailed description of the characteristics of a company's ideal customer. It includes demographic, psychographic, and behavioral factors. And therefore, by defining an ICP, it helps us to focus our efforts on the most promising leads. Now, in tied to the ICP is the act, or the process of creating your buyer's persona, right? Um, a buyer's persona is really a fictional representation of a company's ideal customer base, right? Now, this is based on research and data and includes information on the customer's background, job title, challenges, goals, preferences, and so on. By creating a persona, it helps us to better understand the customer and tailor our messaging to their needs. Now, in identifying, so we would have looked at the ICP, and would have looked at creating bias persona, and we'll dive into this a little bit more later on in the course. No, no. So we move on to how do we identify and prioritize our leads as they come in, right? Now, identifying leads involves using different sources such as referrals, networking, online research, and so on to find potential customers. Now, once we find them, we now need to prioritize them, or rank them based on their potential value to the company, right? So, and then we'll have seen, and then we'll explore your ICP and the buyer's persona fits into us identifying those leads. And then once those leads start to come in, we start to prioritize them. But how do we prioritize them in a scientific way to ensure that we have the best leads coming into our pipeline and being focused on? To do this, we would apply what we call a BANT, BANT. Now, a BANT, which essentially is, do they have the budget? Do they have the authority, the need, and timeline necessary to make this happen, to make this sale happen? So, do they have the money to spend, right? Do they have the authority? Are these the persons who say yea or nay? Is there a need for it? when you look at your customers persona, is there a need for this particular product or service? And then is our timeline or the product timeline, if there is one, does it match to their, do they need it now? How long do they need it for? Or when do they need it? Those are the questions that we would need to answer. Right. So in qualifying prospects along these lines helps us to focus on the leads that are more likely to become customers, and that is critical. So how do we know develop effective messaging for those prospects? So would have done band and would have known who these persons are and would have said that these persons are the right persons and their bands are positive. Or do we develop a messaging process to reach these persons, right? So first we need to understand the buyer's journey. Right, we need to then craft a compelling value proposition. We need to say what is that we have to offer and what our edge is. Then we need to look at how do we develop effective email and phone scripts that are consistent and effective. And then finally, how do we leverage social media messaging to help us reach and communicate with these customers, right? No, crafting a compelling value proposition is critical. I think it's one of the most important part of the communication process in terms of yourself and your customer. You need to let your customer know effectively what it is that you're offering and how you differ from others offering the same product or service. A value proposition is a statement that explains how a company's product or service can solve the customer's problem and meet those needs, right? Crafting this proposition helps you as a sales team to differentiate yourselves amongst within the market and from competitors and so on, and capture the customer's attention. Now, in developing that value proposition, and we now need to communicate that proposition in an effective way to our customers. And therefore, this is where our effective or email and phone scripts come into play. So when we're communicating to our customers, our value proposition is consistent and effective, right? So our email and phone scripts are pre-written usually and used by by sales team, and should be used by the sales team to communicate with potential customers, right? Developing effective scripts helps a sales team to communicate those value propositions clearly and persuasively, right? And this is critical because consistency in messaging is critical to ensuring that our customers get the right information in the right way and format, right? Now, how do we know? We spoke about the buyer's journey. Now, what is the buyer's journey, and how do we understand this and leverage this to ensure that we meet the customer's needs? Now, the buyer's journey is the process a customer goes through before making a purchase. It includes awareness, consideration, and decision, and the decision stages. Understanding the buyer's journey helps you as a salesperson to tailor your messaging to meet the customer needs at each particular stage. Now, we also spoke about in the outline, how do we craft effective social media messaging? Now, social media being one of the most prevalent means of communication these days and reaching mass audience is critical to how we reach our customers, right? It is. So social media messaging involves using social media platforms such as your LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook to connect with your potential customers and creating. So therefore, creating an effective social media messaging helps the team to engage with our prospects and build relationships, right? And build relationships. So this now is what allows us to create a personalized approach to what it is that we're offering our customers, and this is critical. then it is important to now look at how do we l- leverage technology and data to improve our targeting. And in this instance, we want to look at how do we understand automation tools. How do we leverage and utilize automation tools in our prospecting and sales process. Now, it is important that we look at things such as CRM tools, right? A customer relationship management tools or software can help us manage customer interactions and data through customer throughout the customer's life cycle. By tracking customer behavior and preferences, you can personalize your sales effort and target customers with relevant products and services, right? That this data that our CRM software can provide also gives us the ability to segment our customer base and prioritize our sales efforts. And this is important, right? We also have tools such as, analyze methods through which we can analyze customer data, right? The use of analytics tools to analyze customer information or data to identify things like pattern and trends can be very critical to our sales success, because what it does, it helps us to understand our customers' behavior, preferences, and needs, which can be used to tailor our sales approach. So, for example, if you notice that a certain group of customers frequently purchases a specific type of product, you can then create a targeted sales campaign for that particular product. Then we also look at things like predictive analytics. Now, predictive analytics can help you to identify potential customers and predict their likelihood of making a purchase. By analyzing customer data such as purchase history and demographic information and online behaviors, you can identify patterns that indicate a potential customer is ready to make a purchase. Now, in this, so would have seen how this can allow can assist us in personalizing our approach, right? And a personalized approach is key to effective sales targeting, right? We need to understand how we can use customer data to personalize our sales approach and make your interaction with the customer more meaningful. So take for example, the you could use customer purchase history to recommend complementary products or services for your customer. And this is what this then provides value added added value to the customer experience and the customer interaction. And finally, we can use social media platforms to provide a wealth of data to us on customers behavior and preferences. So by monitoring social media activity and engagement, you can identify potential customers and engage with them in a more targeted way. And social media can also be used as to create targeted advertising campaigns. So essentially, what we're saying here is that by leveraging technology and data in these ways, you can improve your sales targeting and increase your chances of closing those deals. Now, remember that the key is to use the data to personalize your approach and create a more meaningful connection with your customers. All right, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So we have now come to the end of this module, and as usual, we have a post module quiz, and any feedback will always be welcome. Thank you.